So we're going to start this one by looking at example B. It's a division problem, so the first thing to do is to rewrite the problem. So 2x plus 2y divided by 8 times, now we're flipping the second fraction, so 72 over x squared. Oops, forgot the z right there. X squared times x plus y squared. Okay. Okay, so now that I look at it real quick, I think there's a typo right here. I'm going to go ahead and change this. I'm going to make that an x. I'm going to change that in the notes as well, so it'll be an x in your notes. Okay, so let's say that's an x. Now let's go ahead and see if we can see any factors that we have in common or anything that can be factored. I notice that the top of this first one can be factored, so let's take out the 2. So that's 2x plus y over 8x times 72 over x squared plus, this is already factored. This is already x plus y squared, which means x plus y times x plus y. Okay? So we can see that we have an x plus y on the top that will divide out with one of the x plus y's we had on the bottom. Okay? A couple other things. We can divide 8 into 72, goes in 9 times. And nothing else will reduce. Okay, so let's simplify right here. We have 2 times 9 across the top, so 18, over on the bottom, x times x squared would be x cubed times x plus y. And that would be the simplified answer. Alright, let's look at the next one. The next one's going to require a bit of factoring, but I'm going to first flip the second fraction. So let's see, 2z squared minus 5z minus 12 over z squared minus 10z plus 24 times z squared minus 9z plus 18 over 4z squared minus 9. Okay, so let's start factoring this. I'm going to factor the easiest part first and work my way to the hardest part. The easiest part to factor is this difference of squares right here. So we're going to do the 2z plus 3 and the 2z minus 3. Okay. The next easiest part to factor is going to be one of these trinomials with coefficient 1. So let's do the top one here. Let's do z in each parenthesis. I gotta make sure those don't look like 2, so I'm crossing them. 18. 18 is 2 and 9. That went up to 9, so 6 and 3. So negative 6 plus negative 3 is negative 9, and negative 6 times negative 3 is 18. And let's try the bottom over here. So it's a z in both parentheses. And a 24. So to make it 10, it's going to be 6 and 4. So minus 6 minus 4 adds up to negative 10 and multiplies to 24. Alright, now for the hardest one, we're going to have to do a guess and check here. So let's do 2z in one of the parentheses and z in the other. And there's a bunch of ways to make 12. So let's start with 3 and 4. I need one positive and one negative. I'm not sure which one is which, so I'll just shove them in there and change them if I need to. Okay, so this is going to give us 2 times 4 is negative 8z plus 3z. I can't believe I got it on the first try. 5z. Alright, I'm happy with that. So let's get rid of these lines now since we've found the right one. And we've got everything factored. Now that everything is factored, we're going to see what we can cancel. So we've got a 2z plus 3 and a 2z plus 3. Those will divide out. A z minus 4 and a z minus 4, those divide out. A z minus 6 and a z minus 6, those divide out. And this one's a z minus 3 and a 2z minus 3, so those are different. So my answer is z minus 3 over 2z minus 3. Okay. And let's look at part D. So rewriting, I'm going to start with 2x over 3ax minus 6a plus 4x minus 8 times 3a squared minus 5a minus 12 over 2ax squared minus 6x squared. Okay, so again, I'm going to start by factoring the easiest one to factor first, make my way on to the more difficult ones. Easiest one to factor is one that doesn't need to be factored. The top of the first one is just 2x. Then my binomial is probably the next best bet. My binomial has a 2 and an x squared in common. So if I take that out, I'm left with a minus 3. Alright, then I've got a 4 term and a 3 term. So let's do the 3 term. It's going to have to be a guess and check. So we'll start with 3a in one parenthesis and a in the other. One's positive and one's negative. I don't know where the positive or negative goes yet. We'll just try. And let's see how lucky we can get with this 12. It can be a 1 and a 12, a 2 and a 6, or a 3 and a 4. So let's try 3 and a 4. Okay. So if it's a 3 and a 4, this will give us negative 12a plus 3a would equal negative 9a. So that doesn't work. It's supposed to be negative 5. Okay, so let's take those out. If 3 and 4 doesn't work, let's try 4 and 3. So that would be negative 9a okay, plus 4a is negative 5a. Okay, so that one seems to work. So let's get rid of this work right here. We've got it factored now. And then the last one is 4 terms, so it's going to require grouping, so I'm going to need to do that down here. The first group, 3ax and 6a, have 3a in common. If I take the 3a out, I'm left with x minus 2, plus the second group has 4 in common. If I take 4 out, I'm left with x minus 2, and then I have x minus 2. Take that out, I'm left with 3a plus 4. Okay, so this one here factors into x minus 2 times 3a plus 4. Alright, so some of the work for factoring these things has to be like done on the side and then like put back together right here to get the whole thing simplified. For cancellation, I can divide off 3a plus 4 from both top and bottom. I can divide a minus 3, and I can divide 2 from these monomials. And I can divide one of these x's off, which will leave me with an x on the bottom, because I had an x squared there. Okay, so I have to erase a little bit of my work right here so that I can write my answer down. But my answer is going to be on the top, everything canceled, so I got 1 over on the bottom, x times x minus 2. Alright, a couple more problems for division. The first one, I'm going to write that as over 1 so I can see how to flip it. So we've got b squared plus 12b plus 36 over b minus 4 times 1 over b squared plus 3b minus 18. And then we'll start factoring. The first part's going to factor into 2 parentheses with b in front, and 36, so if I do 6 and 6, I'm going to add up to 12. Okay. b minus 4 on the bottom, times 1 over, I'm going to start with b and b again since we have coefficient 1, 18. So if I do a negative 3 and a positive 6, that'll add up to a positive 3 in the middle. So a b plus 6 will cancel, and my answer is going to be b plus 6 over b minus 4 times b minus 3. Okay. Now for the next one, this is just a strange way of writing the division. This is the same thing as writing x squared over y divided by x over y squared, right? We're just rewriting this middle division with the kind that we're used to seeing. Okay, so I'm going to take the first one, copy it, and I'm going to change to multiply and flip the second fraction. So x squared over y times y squared over x. These are all monomials, so this y will cancel with one of those y's, leaving me with one y. This x will cancel with one of those x's, leaving me with one x. So what I'm left with is x times y on the top over 1 in the bottom. I don't need to write the 1 if it's in the bottom. Okay, and again, part C is just a written, strangely it's written stacked up division instead of the division symbol. So what it means is 3x over 5x plus 5 divided by x cubed over x squared minus 3x minus 4. And so we're going to flip the second fraction, write that as 3x over 5x plus 5 times x squared minus 3x minus 4 over x cubed, and then we'll start factoring. The top of the first one doesn't need to be factored, the bottom of the second one doesn't need to be factored. The bottom of the first one can be factored by pulling out a 5, leaving me with 5x plus 1, 5 times x plus 1. And the trinomial will factor with an x in each parenthesis, so that's going to be probably a 4 and a 1 to get that 3. The 4 is going to have to be negative to make it negative, so that makes the 1 positive. Okay, the x plus 1's cancel. These are monomial terms, so this x will cancel into the x to the third and leave me with an x squared. So my final answer on this one is going to have a 3 on the top, and an x minus 4 on the top, and a 5x squared on the bottom.